Hello, Stupid Music. This is Bolis Pupul, and thanks for all your support and love. Stay tuned and listen to my interview with Stupid Music. Each and every time people talk to me like I am local, a sense of shame is my part, but I know I can take the blame. I wish I spoke what they speak, so I could blend in easily. Maybe I should learn what is good. I don't want to be misunderstood. 100%, 50%, completely half on my behalf. Wait, who do I see? Is that you, or someone who looks a lot like you? The album came about in 2018 when I went to Hong Kong for my first time. My mother, she was born in Hong Kong in 1959, and she passed away in Belgium in 2008. When I went to Hong Kong in 2018, it was for me it was from a personal necessity. I needed to get in touch and to connect with a Hong Kong culture. So when I came to Hong Kong, for me, it was very emotional in the beginning. I really felt a lot of heartache, and I missed my mom, and I felt regret that we didn't do that together when we were children. And standing there in Mataway Road, in the street where she was born, I just felt a big loss, and I wanted to connect with her. And to connect with her, I decided to write her a letter. And I was writing the letter just for myself, not with the idea of making an album. But while I was in Hong Kong, I felt inspired by the city. There were so many new sounds, new things that I was feeling, that I just wanted to translate it into music. And I had a small keyboard, and I had a computer with me. I recorded a lot of things on my phone. And all those things were like small snippets of Hong Kong. And I went back to Belgium and worked on the demos and made more music. And when I was with the co-producers of the album, Stefan and David de Waal from Solvex, they listened to everything that I made, and they were like, okay, but this is amazing. I think you just have to go back one more time and make more music, go deeper into the feeling and try to make more. And they also encouraged me to use the letter that I had written to my mom and translate it into the music that I was making. For me, it was very uncomfortable because it was too personal, and I thought it was maybe not interesting for other people to share it. But they really encouraged me and gave me the confidence to go along with it. And when I went to Hong Kong for the second time, I just wrote every day a lot of music, and that resulted in a lot of songs, and I made a lot of songs. And then I came back to Belgium and I wrote more, and I finished the tracks, and I made new versions of them. And it took some time for me to finish the whole album, but in the end, I'm really happy that some songs got the chance to grow, and I had some time to reflect on them. And I think that's something that you can hear on the record. There's a lot of songs, and there's a lot of songs that are not on the record, unfortunately. But it's been a work of progress. For like I worked on the album for 5 years, so that's a long time to reflect on your heritage. Hong Kong is very. My grandparents told me like Hong Kong is there's a lot of poverty. It's rough. It's not 100% safe. It's dirty. And so I was a bit cautious. I wasn't really like they didn't really make good publicity for me as a teenager to go to Hong Kong. My mother, on the other hand, she was more soft, and she told me things about Hong Kong, that the food was amazing, and that also taking the ferry is something very nice, and when she talked about Hong Kong, I could feel more nuance than my grandparents. My grandparents were, I think, it was kind of like a love-hate situation where I could feel they were very angry at China and maybe also Hong Kong because they left and they built a life that was in their mind successful because they made a living, they made money, they raised their children in a safe environment. But at the same time, they were very lonely. They didn't speak Dutch, the Belgian language. They spoke a little French, but they were very isolated. And whenever, for example, my grandfather was watching Chinese circus, he had this videotape of Chinese circus. I saw him crying all the time. And that was something that really did something with my brain because I thought you were mad at China and you didn't want to have anything to do with them anymore. But when I see you watching Chinese circus, I saw him crying and that's what I meant with it's a love-hate situation, I think. My grandfather, for example, he never went back. He left in late 50s and never went back to Hong Kong. My grandmother, she went back one time, I think, but my grandfather, he never went back. He was very stubborn and very strong, but he decided he couldn't go back. Maybe it was too painful for him. I think my main reason was I was just very curious. I wanted to know where my mother was born, and I wanted to connect with a culture that was something that was never really a big part of my life, but at the same time, it was a very big part of my life. But we didn't really talk about it, or it wasn't something that we embraced as teenagers. Um, and I think being in Hong Kong really opened my eyes, and I feel so much love for the people in Hong Kong and for the culture and for the I think it's very beautiful. Maybe I'm very romantic in a way, um, but it's very special to me. Yeah. My image that I had before I went to Hong Kong was um, a bit more negative than when I was there. And when I was there, I really thought it was amazing. There's for me, I just love food and good food. And when I came to Hong Kong, that was the first thing that I noticed. Like this food is amazing. There's nothing in Belgium that comes close to this kind of food. How like the standard level of quality of food is way much higher than in Belgium. And we don't know in Belgium what Chinese food is. The only Chinese restaurants that we have are really nothing close to Chinese food. Um, but to me, I think it was really a search for connection. I really wanted to meet people and to talk to people and know a bit about Hong Kong life, how people spend their days, how they survive. It's also a very expensive city. It's people live on very small sizes, and um, how do you enjoy your privacy in a city where you have so many close neighbors the whole time. And to me, that was very interesting. I met some people there and I made some friends. And I still love it. Every time I go, I meet new people. And I went to Mint Club. I went to mostly Harmless Bar. There's some cool spots as well that are quite similar as in Europe. And I also want to know what is Hong Kong club culture like. the music scene. What's it like? And still, I think there's a lot of things I need to discover there. I've only discovered a tiny, tiny bit. It was very important to have all the visual content from Hong Kong. I wanted to have everything that was part of the visual context or identity of this album, that it was something that was shot in Hong Kong because I wrote the music in Hong Kong, and the songs are about Hong Kong, and Hong Kong is so beautiful. You can make so many amazing images in Hong Kong, and also for me and for the director of the video and the photographer of the artwork of the album, it's also good to be outside of your own world, and going to another place opens your eyes and you look at the place with new eyes. And it, to me as well, it makes sense, and it's something that adds color to the music. It would be weird if I would have only images from Belgium and myself in Belgium and then a record about Hong Kong. So yeah, for me it was very important. I went back 2 times to Hong Kong, especially for the artwork and for the music videos.